Hello and welcome to episode 10 of Tall Guy Talks Travel with Rick Doherty. Since we rebranded the podcast, we're already back in double digits and it's feeling pretty good. We have a real fun episode today. I'm going to be joined by my good friend Sarah, also known on Twitter as @SarahSays84. We're going to be discussing Memory Maker or PhotoPass at Walt Disney World and whether it is the right fit for your family or travel party on your next Walt Disney World vacation. Before we get started, I just want to ask you to like, subscribe, and comment. It really does help out the show. And if you're looking for a free, no-obligation quote on a Walt Disney World, Universal Orlando Resort, or any other type of vacation, shoot me an email, rick@eartotheretravel.com, rick@eartotheretravel.com, or give me a phone call, 727-507-3123, 727-507-3123. Obviously, if you're listening to the podcast, I know what I'm talking about when it comes to theme parks, but I'm also an authorized Disney travel planner. Right now, let's get the show started. Sarah, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
I am doing excellent. If people want to get a hold of you on the Twitter, how do they do that?
Reach out to me at SarahSays84. Yeah, just come chat with me.
Yeah, that is @SarahSays84. So today what we are going to be doing is discussing Memory Maker or PhotoPass specifically at Walt Disney World. It works a little differently over at Disneyland, but we'll talk about that sometime in the future, I would imagine. We're going to focus on Walt Disney World and first just explain a little bit about what PhotoPass or Memory Maker is to those of you who might not be aware. We'll talk about whether it will be worth it for your family or your traveling party. And then we're going to go over some of our favorite locations where we like to get those photos taken, some really great hidden gems all throughout Walt Disney World. So first of all, Sarah, you always get Memory Maker when you head to Walt Disney World. So why don't you explain a little bit about what it is to the people?
So what it is it gives you the ability to get your ride photos, go to different spots where you see one of those cast members, the photography cast members, and have them take your picture for you, or they have some fun things that you can do, and it all adds it to your, I guess they're still using the Magic Band. So it adds it onto that for you, and you don't have to worry about carrying your camera around with you.
Yeah, so either your Magic Band, if you don't have a Magic Band, you will get a hard park ticket. Either one of those, it will load into your My Disney Experience account, and you will have all of the pictures that were taken by these Disney PhotoPass photographers throughout Walt Disney World, and they are basically everywhere. When you start talking about prices for it, generally it is $169 if you get it in advance, and it is $199 if you get it, I believe it's within 3 days of the start of your trip. And this lasts basically for the length of your trip unless you're doing something absurd and staying there for way longer than anybody I've ever known. And I will say this, I'm not the type of person who says it's always worth it for every family, but I definitely think, especially if you have that one person, whether it be mom or dad, or there's the one uncle or aunt who always ends up being the one taking the picture, and they don't end up in any of the pictures, this is really good for that situation. Also, everything going on right now, pre-pandemic, the PhotoPass photographers would take pictures with their cameras, and then if you wanted them to take pictures with your camera or with your cell phone or something like that, they would do that afterwards, so you would still be able to get those pictures if you wanted. Now, unfortunately, they don't want all of that contact going back and forth, so now they can't take those pictures with your cell phone or your camera anymore. So I do think that's something to consider if you're thinking about it, because now definitely that's the only way to get those professionally taken photos.
Yeah, it's also nice, like you said, that you don't have your one family member left out, but they also can find some amazing spots for you. Or like my parents went, and the photographer, there happened to be a balloon guy passing by, and he's like, "Can I borrow those?" And so my parents have this great photo in front of the castle with a giant bunch of balloons. and they got that on their PhotoPass. It was amazing.
And a lot of these things don't happen all the time. They're not guaranteed. But the
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
time my wife and I were there, we were dressed up because it was our anniversary. We were in Magic Kingdom. And one of the PhotoPass photographers just basically grabbed us on Main Street. This was before everything going on. And just grabbed us on Main Street and had like a photo shoot with us. Maybe
That's
spent
really
10, 15 minutes with us, taking pictures with us. Now have your back to the castle. Now look at the castle and stare with me behind you, and all of those things. Now, our anniversary is in August, so I don't like any of those pictures because I'm sweating like the pig who knows he's dinner, but but it was really great, and it's a really fun experience for the cast members that are taking these photos are some of the absolute best cast members in all of Walt Disney World. I know the one day, it was just this past birthday or anniversary, whatever you want to call it, for Walt Disney World, October 1st. It was the 49th birthday. And I went with a friend who just had a happy birthday Magic Kingdom celebratory button. And this PhotoPass photographer spent 5-10 minutes putting the button on the ground and then having the person stand behind it and then, taking an angle picture up. Actually, for some reason, every time I go to Walt Disney World with this particular friend, the PhotoPass people go nuts. The one time we were at Epcot and he was wearing sunglasses that were reflective, they took a picture looking at his glasses so you could see Spaceship Earth in the reflection of his glasses. I don't know what it is about this one guy that every time we go to Walt Disney World, the PhotoPass people just fall in love with him. But it happens. You can find these special occasion experiences where they will just go above and beyond the call of duty. Now, another thing that happens a lot is if you go to special ticketed events. Now, we don't know when these might be returning to Walt Disney World, but we're talking about things like Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, also the Villains After Hours events and things like that. You can get some really fun special photos with those events. And I know that you, Sarah, you and your family have a lot of really great ones.
Yeah, like I was going through all our old ones, and we usually go in September because both mine and my sister's birthdays are September. So that's always the not so scary Halloween party. And there were some really cool shots that I didn't even remember getting, like in front of the Haunted Mansion. The carriage, they grouped us around it and we're standing there and there's ghosts in the carriage and one driving it. And so they had us doing all these like fun poses like, are you scared? Are you excited? And there was also in front of the castle, they pulled us all in our costumes because we did a space theme. And so we had like Doctor Who, me and my sister and my husband all had Doctor Who theme, and my parents were astronauts. And so they put us all in front of the castle and like did all these cool kind of different shots there at night. And oh my God, it was so fun. It was so fun.
Yeah, my absolute favorite from Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party was I was just sitting there. I took this special magic shot. And then when I went back and looked at my Disney experience, by the way, give them about 48 hours to get all the special quote unquote magic shots where they superimpose things onto the picture. Give them a few days before you start wondering where they're located because it does take time sometimes. But anyway, I'm looking through my Disney Experience account later that week, and there I am as Hatbox Ghost from Haunted Mansion. Hatbox Ghost is holding the Hatbox, and it's my head inside the Hatbox. I might as well get that framed. It is like my favorite picture I have of myself at this point.
I would. That's amazing.
Yeah, that is a very fun one. Sometimes they'll put, a flaming jack-o'-lantern in your hand on Main Street, USA at Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. They definitely do a lot of really, really fun things at that event. And obviously, I'm assuming when it does eventually return, we'll have character meet and greets like we used to have at those events. And you might have to wait like 2 hours to meet Jack and Sally from The Nightmare Before Christmas. And if you wait 2 hours, you want everybody in your party to be in that picture. And you want to make sure that each and every picture looks perfect, because the PhotoPass photographer who's taking that picture is taking that picture thousands of times that night. She or he will know the exact right angle. They'll know the lighting. They'll know everything that's needed to make that a great shot. I don't know your age, Sarah, but I think we're both sort of at that age where we remember going to Disney World. You didn't even know how your pictures were going to look until you went to CVS or whatever and got the prints back. And then your mom's fingers in front of the camera lens when you're in front of the castle, or you're just seeing everybody's feet or something like that. And now with these PhotoPass photographers, they'll take a bunch of pictures every time you pose to make sure that they get that really, really good one. And we hinted towards magic shots and talked about these a little, but they are almost every time you stop, you'll get some special event. Maybe they'll have you put your hands out in front of you and they'll superimpose a character in your hands, or you'll be looking off in the distance at Epcot and there'll be Figment floating in the air. I'm sure you have some really, really good ones just from regular everyday trips.
I don't feel like the first time we got it that there were as many, where now there are. It's like, and they'll just have you pose. Like, you don't even realize what they're doing. There's a great one that I came across of me and my dad, and we were just waiting outside of the boulangerie patisserie in France at Epcot for my mom and my sister and my husband to finish whatever they were doing inside. And we were just standing there. It's pouring down rain. And one of the photographers just happened to walk past us, and he's like, "Hey, stop, you guys." And we turn, and all the pictures come out, and there's like Tinkerbell flying around us. And there's one where I'm like holding Tinkerbell. I had no idea. I was like, this is great. And it just kind of came out of nowhere.
And I know sometimes they'll have a really fun sense of humor about it. Like, I went on the 4th of July to Hollywood Studios the one year, and, you know, Florida on the 4th of July, they had me pose like I was cold, and then they started putting Olaf all over the place, and they just had all these really fun juxtapositions because I was hotter than I have ever been in my life. But there I am shivering with Olaf beside me, and it just really does add to the vacation, because you think it seems like a hefty price, but then when you think about all the things that come with it, you want to make sure you're capturing all those memories, because when you take the price of a Walt Disney World vacation, it's minuscule compared to that overall price. But making sure that you capture all of these different experiences really does make it worth it a lot of the time. Now, this next time you go to Walt Disney World is going to be the first time your child is going to be going to Walt Disney World. Am I correct?
That is correct.
So I guarantee you're already planning on getting Memory Maker for that one, and you are going to tire out those photographers.
We are, and we actually, it's funny, at the last time we went, I actually found out I was pregnant not too long after we got back. Is about a month after we got back. It was like, oh, surprise. And my husband and I were like, oh, we already know when we go, we're getting Memory Maker. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. And so now it's just like planning out. But there, yes, it's going to be amazing. We're super excited. And going back through my photos, I'm like, okay, I have to remember we need like this spot and this spot. And I've been looking through other people's photos on Twitter and Instagram of like, oh, you got a really cool shot here. So maybe we can take him. And he loves like Toy Story and all that. So I'm like, okay, are there any PhotoPass photographers in like the Toy Story Land area, and like trying to pre-plan?
Toy Story Land is so photogenic that I know that I get a lot of PhotoPass photographer pictures when I'm there. I just can't really envision where the actual spots are. I know that there is a photo on Slinky Dog Dash, and that always comes out really, really well, especially if you sort of plan out where the photo is taken during the ride. But it's so photogenic in there. And it's just so beautiful. I know you haven't been there yet, correct?
Correct. Yeah, it wasn't open yet when we were there.
You're absolutely going to love that. And if your kid loves Toy Story, I mean, there's just absolutely nothing better for someone like that. They shrink you down to the size of toys, and you walk around the land. You are one of the toys. It's really, really fun.
I have a question for you. So the Slinky Dog Dash, when talking about these magic shots, is it just the photo or is it like Seven Dwarfs Mine Train? Because when we got our photos back from that one, it actually moves. So they played Hi Ho before it, and then all of a sudden it was you coming through the like mines, and then it cut off. So that was your photo. It was really interesting.
Yeah, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train incorporates, like, they do give you the traditional photo, like the still photo. You do still get actually two of them on Mine Train, but
Okay.
they also send you a video if you want to download that video and have it. And it is really fun. They play Hi Ho. They show you twice, I believe, through the
Yeah.
ride where you're going. So always make sure you're being very photogenic when you're on Seven Doors Mine Train because they're taking your picture all the time. No, that does bring up a really good point, however, that there are on ride photos that are included with your memory maker. And if you're wondering, it is your Magic Band that can sort of detect when you're on the ride, and there's an RFID or whatever kind of chip in your Magic Band. So some of the best ones there are the on ride photos. I know there's an on ride photo on Pirates of the Caribbean, like we said. Seven Dwarfs Mine Train has two of them. Space Mountain, Haunted Mansion. The Haunted Mansion is really important that you get a good shot. When you're just starting the Haunted Mansion and you go through the room with the portraits. Sarah also goes to Disneyland a lot. At Disneyland, you walk through that room. In Walt Disney World, you're in your vehicle in that room, and there's lightning flashes. Well, the last picture, the painting of Medusa, one of those lightning flashes is the flash for the picture that it's taking of you. So get posed and get ready to get that really good shot. And we usually just hold a scream and then wait for it because we don't know exactly when it's going to come, but we know enough that we get these screams. A very funny story. The one time I decided I was going to do something silly and I did the Heisman pose. You know, anybody who's a college football fan. And then, and then the picture didn't end up on my Disney experience. I got somebody else's. Now
Oh
you
man.
can correct that if you want, and it was really easy to correct it, and it's not a big deal. All I know is that some other family got a picture of me doing the Heisman pose on Haunted Mansion, so I have never done that again.
I think that's hilarious. If I was going through my photos and that popped up, I'd be like, I would treasure that photo because I'd be like, I love that someone did this.
I was wearing a shirt that I got on Etsy that had Maui and it said the hair, the bodge, you're welcome. And then I was doing the Heisman pose. So I definitely looked like an egomaniac, but that's okay.
Oh, I love it. That's so funny. I love posing though, like for photos. I actually never really did before. And my cousin, who I would go to Disneyland with all the time in Southern California, she was like, "We need to start doing this." And so, like going through old photos of us as like kids and teenagers, and then me and my husband on our last Disneyland trip on like cars, we're like, "It's like okay, let's do this." And actually, we did that on Test Track when we got our photos back from that. Is my whole family's like, "Oh, here's like the cliche, like here's a map," or like, "Oh, point at different things." And then of course the other people in the car though are like, "What the heck is going on? Like, what are you doing?"
Also at Magic Kingdom, they have it on Splash Mountain. That's the other one that has an on ride photo. But moving over to Epcot, like you said, Test Track has one. There is one on Frozen. And I believe those are the only two on ride photos. Yeah, Test Track and Frozen are the only two on ride photos at Epcot. At Disney's Hollywood Studios, the on ride photos are on Slinky Dog Dash, Tower of Terror, and Rock and Roller Coaster. And then at Disney's Animal Kingdom, it's Expedition Everest and Dinosaur.
That's the only ones I can remember that have photos on them.
Yeah, I'm just going through my little mental list, and
Yeah.
it's definitely only on Expedition Everest and Dinosaur. Usually it's going to be on a thrilling attraction. They try to throw in a few things like Haunted Mansion, just so people who maybe don't do the thrilling rides will still get some.
Yeah.
And I won't tell you where the one is on Dinosaur because I think you get better reactions there.
I have nothing in mind. I was terrified when I was on that ride, and it was my first like adult trip to, and I'm with my mom and her best friend, and I'm literally like Yeah, we got it back, and everyone's cracking up around us in the queue. I'm like, "Yep, that's me. That's me." I'm ducking down because I'm afraid to die.
Yeah, that's definitely a fun photo for the on-ride experience. Now I thought we would move on and talk about those locations in the park, the spot where it is definitely 100% a necessity to get a photo in these particular locations. Some of them are obvious, but some of them are maybe a little bit more of a hidden gem. So let's start with Magic Kingdom. We'll go in order that the parks opened. And I think that very first one you have to mention is standing in front of the partner statue with Walt and Mickey in front of Cinderella Castle. I'm sure you have to have one like this.
Yep, we definitely do. It's and that one too, you gotta if you're in a rush, make sure you remember and think about it because you may walk past it. And so you gotta really think about it for a minute and be like, oh wait, I gotta stop here before. Because a lot of people, they just beeline straight to the castle. You gotta take a minute to be like, wait, there are better, like the castle is iconic and brilliant, but it's like you gotta remember, oh wait, there's this little hidden one in here we gotta duck in and do.
And with the pictures on Main Street, when everybody's rushing to get to that first ride in the morning, just do your rides in the morning and come back a little later in the day when things have calmed down on Main Street, because you're going to want to get a bunch of pictures in front of Cinderella Castle. You're going to want to get a picture in front of the partner statue, actually further down Main Street, USA. You're going to want to get pictures in a bunch of these different locations. And as much as we think that everybody is like us and they run into the park and they start walking briskly, not running, to their first ride of the day, a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people do get distracted with that first time. Not everybody is a veteran of going. Some people are going for the first time, and this is their first time seeing the castle. So they're stopping, they're taking their pictures, they're doing all this stuff. An inordinate amount of people immediately go to Starbucks on Main Street at
Yeah.
the beginning of the day, which I don't understand, but
Yeah, me
everybody
either.
vacations in their own way. So go do your rides and then come back to Main Street USA in the afternoon. You'll find there are times where you can get some really, really good pictures. There just aren't a lot of people hanging out on Main Street because there are no rides there.
Right. Yeah, we found a good time to go when we've gone is at dinner time when everyone's like eating or heading to their restaurants. It's like, oh, because it's starting to get a little bit darker out too. So you kind of get the cool like dusk shots too, which is nice.
Yeah, those golden hour pictures are incredible. Now, some less obvious places at Magic Kingdom where I really like to get them is over by Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. There's a path that goes up past the exits to the ride where you can just sit and watch the cars kind of go through the ride. And sometimes, not always, there is a PhotoPass photographer up there taking pictures of you with Big Thunder Mountain in the background. This is my favorite ride in all of Disneydom. So I love to get that shot if somebody's there. It's those beautiful red rocks, I guess, sort of built on like Sedona, Arizona or southern Utah or something like that. You don't want to miss that photo. It is really, really great. What are some locations that you like in Magic Kingdom?
One that we like that involves the castle is actually when you first walk in front of the train station. We really liked the photo there. Because they also, what they did is they turned us around. So the castle's way, way far back in the background. And so it gave us a cool perspective of the castle that we didn't really see in other photos. So that was a really good one. And then, oh, we got a good one too that I like that's kind of a little space. I call it the hidden bathroom, but in the Tangled area in Fantasyland, that's another really good kind of like hidden spot. If you can find a PhotoPass cast member there, is that's a really cute little place to have your shots done because they have like the tower in the background and then it's all set up like the little village, and that's a really good one.
You know you're a Disney fan when you're getting your picture taken in front of the bathrooms. In normal times, and we don't know when this will be returning, obviously the parks will have to continue being open later and later for this to really come back. In normal times, around the Rapunzel bathrooms, for lack of a better term, they will give you a lantern that you can hold at night, and they'll take pictures with that lantern. It varies in times. I think they usually try to do it pretty close to when it starts to get dark because it's very, very, very popular, but obviously it gets dark at different times all
Right.
throughout the year. But you can stand there and hold one of the lanterns from Tangled, and they get a really good shot. The light from the lantern sort of glows against you and lights you in a sort of in kind of a front lit action. It's really, really cool. I can't do it justice by describing it here, but that's a great magic shot as well. Also, right by there, in front of Haunted Mansion, they've moved this a little bit where they've kind of backed it towards the entrance to Columbia Harbor House.
Okay.
But you can have a magic shot done with putting your thumb out and they have the hitchhiking ghost superimposed beside you. So that's another really, really good one. I definitely recommend it. Just a couple other quick ones that I want to mention before we move on to another park is in front of Be Our Guest restaurant. They usually have a PhotoPass photographer who's taken some really, really nice shots. And this is a sneaky good one. I don't think a lot of people would think about this, but the Little Mermaid ride in New Fantasyland has some really beautiful architecture there, and it really looks like the town from The Little Mermaid. And there's usually a PhotoPass photographer there, and those shots come out really, really well. It's not the most thrilling ride in Walt Disney World. It's just a fun little dark ride in New Fantasyland. But you have to remember that queue is really, really intricate, and some of those views just make for some great photos. Now we will move on to Epcot, and you have to, especially now with the brand new entrance to Epcot. Sarah, you haven't seen this yet.
I know.
The entrance to Epcot now is the most beautiful thing I have ever seen in my entire life. And I don't think I'm exaggerating. But they have the new pylons at night. These pictures are outstanding, but even during the day, you'll get great photos here. Just like when we were talking about the castle, don't get them first thing in the morning. Maybe get them right when you're leaving, but only if you're leaving before the park closes. I would say it's good to make a trip here maybe around 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and then maybe again around 8, 9 o'clock at night when it starts to get dark, and do it at those two times because it's probably not going to be as crowded as it is right at the beginning. That's the first thing almost everybody does, and the lines get really long for those pictures. But they just put in these new pylons. There's now flags in front of Spaceship Earth, and it is probably, arguably, maybe in a tie with the Tree of Life at Animal Kingdom, the most beautiful icon in any Disney park ever.
Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorites. I love it.
Where's some other spots you like to get pictures in Epcot?
In Epcot, the only other place, like most of our photos have been in front of Spaceship Earth. But definitely the spot I mentioned earlier that was kind of a cute little hidden one was in front of the boulangerie and patisserie because you look like you're in the little French village. Another is, I believe it's in England. There's the little phone booth. The little red phone booth is fun, and the gardens. Those ones I've definitely seen. I've never personally taken pictures there, but I've seen a lot of people when we were like sitting and hanging out that there were some really fun ones that were taken there.
And I know when you're getting back into World Showcase, a very, very popular one for people is in front of the gates in Japan.
Oh, yeah.
They'll stand you right in front of the gates, and you'll be able to see Spaceship Earth way back in the distance, and then the gates right behind you, and then you in front of there. They will also superimpose some really fun magic shots in that one as well. I definitely think the gates in Japan is a really good one. And in front of the gates in China is also really, really beautiful. So those are some really good ones in Epcot. Right now, Flower and Garden Festival is happening at Epcot until July 5th. It's like the never-ending festival this year. That adds a whole different aspect to PhotoPass and Memory Maker because there are all of these different topiaries throughout the park, and you're going to want to get your picture in front of each and every one of them. Beauty and the Beast in France. There's Tinkerbell and Peter Pan and the Winnie the Pooh characters in the United Kingdom. There's a big dragon in front of the gate in Japan. There are pandas in China. Obviously, Anna and Elsa in Norway. beautiful, beautiful topiaries, really fun photos. Your kid would love, they have Buzz Lightyear out in front of Mission Space. They have
Oh yeah.
Woody and Bo Peep outside the Land Pavilion. There's a really cool one for Lion King that is new this year, or it's adapted from where it was in past years anyway. A lot of great topiaries. Since it is Flower and Garden, I'm definitely thinking about that right now, so you'll want to take advantage of those as well. On to Hollywood Studios. Sarah's not going to have a lot to add to this one because the last time she was at Hollywood Studios, it was kind of a drag because there
Yeah,
wasn't.
there was nothing there. We got a fun one at the gate though. Like before you even went in, it was similar to your Olaf one that we were getting ready to walk in, not paying attention. There was a cool Frozen setup, and we're like, that's weird. Like, okay, random, but okay. And we're walking, and one of the PhotoPass people was like, come here, come stand here. And we're like, okay. And they're like, okay, now act surprised. Now do this. And then when we got them back, it was Olaf, like we said, like walking in and like, or just standing there, and all of us were like, ah. So that one was kind of fun. But I don't even remember if the sorcerer's hat was there, if they'd taken it down yet. I can't even remember.
Yeah, the sorcerer's hat is not there anymore, which is probably a good thing when it comes to PhotoPass pictures, because now you can get that one on Hollywood Boulevard where they're showing the Chinese theater, which is now Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. That is off in the distance. You can also get some really good ones on Sunset Boulevard with Tower of Terror behind you. They'll probably make you make a scared face or something like that there. But the real stars of PhotoPass, since Sarah has been there last, are Toy Story Land, which we talked about before, but obviously Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. You can get a picture in front of the Millennium Falcon. Obviously, you have to do that. Spend about a good 10, 15 minutes of your day just going to all of the different PhotoPass photographers standing in front of the Millennium Falcon. You can get your picture in front of an X-Wing. You can get your picture in front of an A-Wing. All the Star Wars nerd stuff that you could possibly want, you will get there. And right now, I don't know how long this is going to last, but I imagine that it will last quite a bit of time because of how popular it is. The walkway in between Star Wars Galaxy's Edge and Toy Story Land. As you're walking out of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge into Toy Story Land, to your right, there will be a PhotoPass photographer there who does have a magic shot that puts Grogu or Baby Yoda or whatever you want to call him in the picture with you. I have a ton of these. I do it each and every time I'm in Hollywood Studios because I have to get that picture with Grogu. And a lot of times, the PhotoPass photographers in Galaxy's Edge will take a lot of extra time with you and try to get some shots of you using the Force. Sometimes I've had like a blue milk or a green milk that I've gotten at the milk stand, and they'll make you like hold it up to the camera, and they'll take these really great pictures. I think the cast members in Galaxy's Edge are some of the best cast members on property. They really go above and beyond the Call of Duty to make sure you get some great, great pictures. And now we're going to move on to the most photogenic park of them all. When Joe Rohde, the Imagineer, created Disney's Animal Kingdom, he made sure there were just beautiful, beautiful spots. First of all, like we said, the Tree of Life, the main icon at Disney's Animal Kingdom. You can get pictures in front of this all day.
Oh yeah, from every angle, every single angle.
Right, when you're walking in onto Discovery Island, you can get your picture in front of the Tree of Life there, but also when you're walking in between Africa and Asia on the backside, you get completely different pictures, and the Tree of Life looks just as good from the front as it does from the back. You're going to want to get pictures from, like Sarah said, everywhere around this thing. You're going to want those pictures. You're not going to regret it. There are wood carvings all around the side, not just on the Tree of Life itself. So make sure you're looking for some of those animals that you might want to get a picture beside the animal and in front of the Tree of Life. And then, of course, Pandora, the world of Avatar. They have the floating mountains. Definitely make sure to get some shots in front of the floating mountains. If the park happens to be open after sunset, which doesn't happen a lot now, but will happen in busier times, make sure to get your pictures in Pandora during the day, but also make sure to go back at night because they have some really great views with those incandescent lights. It looks literally otherworldly, which of course they were going for there. And then over in Dinoland USA, it's sometimes fun to get your picture in front of the ride dinosaur, which has a big dinosaur there. They also have some dinosaur skeletons that you can get pictures in front of those. And while we all make fun of Chester and Hester's, the part of Dinoland that is made to look really, really cheesy and gaudy, sometimes cheesy and gaudy comes out really well in photos.
It really does. Sometimes you gotta have the campy photo, and those ones are some of the best. Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's been super fun.
I hope this discussion has made it easier to decide if Memory Maker is right for your next trip. I am an authorized Disney travel planner, and I can help you answer questions like these and many others. My services are always 100% free to you. For a free, no obligation quote on a Walt Disney World vacation, shoot me an email, rick@eartotheretravel.com, rick@eartotheretravel.com, or give me a phone call, 727-507-3123, 727-507-3123. For pictures, videos, podcasts, and blogs about the theme parks and other travel destinations, you can always like me on Facebook, facebook.com/eartothererick. Follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/Rick_ear, and check out my Instagram account, instagram.com/RickEar, 2 there. This has been episode 10 of Tall Guy Talks Travel with Rick Doherty. I'll be here next Thursday with another brand new episode. Have a great week.